The Pink Book of Silly Songs. He would tolerate no nonsense in his library. Ernest A.W. Binkman III perched behind his desk like a hungry hawk, all-seeing, all-knowing, all-controlling. If you uttered so much as a whisper, Ernest would be there, a long, straight finger pressed to his pursed lips, shushing you to silence. A book, carelessly dropped while being pulled from a shelf, would be caught by his firm iron grip, and the offender given a disapproving look. If you were unfortunate enough to emit sounds of digestion, Ernest would suddenly appear, a sour look on his face, to escort you quickly to the bathroom. Slackers who use the computers for games instead of research would see Ernest's smug face appear on their monitor telling them, "Game over." Yes, this was Ernest's world, and those who entered into it through the library's front doors were prisoners to its seriousness and formality. Then one day, a new book arrived at the library. The Pink Book of Silly Songs, the cover read. With a sneer, Ernest shoved the book in a dark corner, high up on a shelf where it couldn't be seen. Satisfied, he sat back down at his desk. But the book appeared on a display table just a few moments later. Puzzled, Ernest picked it up and placed it back up on the shelf. Seconds after he sat back down, he heard the sound of giggling. A young lady was looking at the pink book near the biography section. He grabbed it from her hands, and this time he hid the book completely. Ernest was sweating now. Walking back to his desk, he heard a raucous outburst emanating from the science section. A group of boys sat on the floor and passed the book around. With shaking hands, Ernest grabbed the book and ran into the janitor closet. He threw the book into a trash can and placed a lid on it. Pale and unsteady, he made his way back to his desk. Loud music came from the geography section. An accordion player sang and danced, while a crowd of onlookers laughed and clapped. On the table in front of him was the pink book. Oh, this was all too much. Ernest grabbed the book and shoved the accordion player out the door. He ripped the pages out of the book, crumpled them into the garbage, and stomped on the can. Panting heavily, he sat back down at his desk. Screams came from the history section. A crazy crew of circus clowns with trained monkeys performed while an orchestra played music. On the conductor's stand was the pink book. Oh, this could not be. Ernest knocked the flutist backwards while lunging for the book. Using the music stand as a sword, he battered a clown on his head, then kicked a monkey into the tuba. Gripping the book, he ran. A flying monkey knocked him sideways, and Ernest fell face down, his face buried in the open pages of the pink book. He couldn't help but read the words that were right in front of him. Ernest began to laugh. It started as a low chuckle, then grew to a hearty snicker, and finally to a full-blown belly laugh. He hadn't laughed in years, and it came out in spasms and fits while his body heaved and his face turned red and tears welled up in his eyes. Even the clowns looked surprised and covered their ears. Mothers held their babies close. An elderly gentleman fainted. The monkeys ran for the exits. Then he jumped on the trampoline and began to sing. Do your ears flip-flop? Can you use them for a mop? Are they stringy at the bottom? Are they curly at the top? Song after song he sang, and he sang even while the police came and took him away. The next day, when the library opened, Ernest was back, and so was the pink book. They had worked out an arrangement. He would leave the book out on display if the book would behave itself, and if someone happened to laugh while reading the book, Ernest would allow it. And on the first Tuesday of every month, music would be played in the library, and the library was fuller than it had ever been. And at night, after the library closed, if you were to peer through the windows, you might see Ernest, his nose in the pink book, laughing and singing and dancing between the bookshelves.